and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Adam from Miller's Custom Guitars and the N+1 podcast. I'm so glad you could tune in today. The N+1 podcast is all about our hobbies, passions, obsessions, the things that drive us crazy, that fuel us, that fill our bucket, that we just can't stop obsessing about. I don't talk about this almost every week, but as a guitar enthusiast, how many guitars is enough guitars? And the joke is always one more. And the number of guitars you currently have plus one, right? And basically I found that for any hobby or passion, that's the case. There's always one more thing on the horizon. There's one more painting that needs to be painted. There's one more book that needs to be written. There's one more size that needs to be done. There's one more mountain to climb. And that's what this podcast is all about, is pursuing, talking to interesting people with their hobbies and passions and obsessions. And I brought on a great guest today, someone I've known for a long time, maybe 10 years, Kyla? Is that maybe more?
Probably.
It's probably,
yeah.
I don't know. I brought on
more.
Yeah, I brought on my friend Kyla
Meyer Hatler, yeah.
This is my good friend Kyla Meyer Hatler, and we are going to talk today about youth community theater, right? This is so cool because Kyla runs here in Sonora, where we live, a youth community theater, and it is the coolest thing. And I participated one time, and we used to attend church together, and she would always run these theaters, and I was like, what is this crazy person doing? Right? She runs these theaters. And then she texted me one time, hey, we have a play that's going on that needs some music. Can you participate? I was like, I guess. And I helped out, and then I got it. I'm like, oh, I see why you do this. And it's so wonderful and addictive and mesmerizing. And when I started doing this podcast, I knew I had to have you on to talk about it, because I get it. It's addictive. These kids are amazing. And it's not just kids. There's some adults. It's all about the community. And I have to have you on to talk about youth community theater. And so what I like to say, so first of all, welcome to the podcast, Kyla. Can you introduce us to what you do, how you would describe this whole thing? And I always like to say, describe it like you would to a 5-year-old, and you can kind of go up from there, maybe get a little bit more complicated. But yeah, what is this whole thing?
So I'm the founder of Mountain Youth and Community Theater, and before that it was called Meyer Hideout back in 2004 when we started. And since then we now have a really good board of directors. We've had it for a couple of years, and they actually run, the corporation that runs the theater. But then in the middle of all that are the people who do the shows or help with the programming or take care of tech and all that kind of thing. So I'm still a part of that side of it. I'm not on the board, but I do help make sure we still do all the fun stuff. And without the board, we wouldn't even be around. So I want to make sure everybody knows that they're a huge part of what we do. And what we do is youth and community theater, which means we do shows, performances, events, activities, but that's just one of the end results. Our purpose is actually to build community and build leadership skills for students and give students more self-confidence and understanding. And for me, it's really learning how to work as a team, how to troubleshoot, how to learn a bunch of basic skills that not everybody learns anymore that you need for life. So yes, we do shows, and that's the end result, and that's what the public gets to come and see. But our goals aren't show related at all. It's everything you learn through the rehearsal process and through the prepping process and through the actual shows themselves, because there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And one question I like to ask people is, how did you get into this? What was your gateway drug? At one point, you weren't doing this, and then at some point you did. You started. Were you a theater kid? How did you get into this?
So I went to Pinecrest Elementary School, and we always got to do little plays and little shows and sing, and I always loved that kind of thing. And one year my mom rented Newsies, the movie, and I was in 6th grade, and I didn't even want to watch it. She's like, it's this show about newspaper boys and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't want to watch it. So I went to bed, but I could hear the music. And I was like, I think I really want to watch this. So the next morning I got up super early to put the videotape in the thing and watch Newsies. And the performers were just so amazing, all the singing and dancing, and they were so passionate about what they were doing that I just wanted to get up and dance with them, even though I'm not a dancer. And so that kind of like sparked my interest. I was like, what is this? People singing and dancing in a show. And my mom's like, it's a musical. And so I got super into it. Then my uncle used to be a performer in Branson, Missouri on the Strip. Some of us older folks and older than me know about the Strip. It was a huge strip of giant theaters where they held performances like twice a day, and you would go see all these great shows. And so I got to stay with them for a month and be backstage at my uncle's show, Country Tonight. And man, the performers were just amazing, singing, dancing. There were kids, there were teenagers, there were adults. And I just was like, I really want to do this, but I don't know how. And when I came back home to high school, I tried out for the drama stuff, but it was too intense and scary for me. It was like almost more like dark clothes, dark spaces, snapping fingers, doing poetry kind of drama. And that wasn't really the kind of thing I was looking for.
Okay.
I finally joined choir my senior year of high school because I didn't feel confident that I was good enough to do any of that stuff. Then the Young Americans came to town, and my brother and I did that 3-day workshop that they do where they teach you a show really fast. You get to sing and dance, and I loved it so much that I auditioned for Young Americans, and I got in, and they literally told me when I got in that I didn't get in based on my talent because I wasn't a strong singer and I wasn't a strong dancer, but because I was passionate about it. And I moved to Southern California, became a Young American, and it grew from there.
Wow, that's an amazing story. That's really cool. But how did MyX start? How did that get going?
So MyX started because I left Young Americans and went to Sonoma State to finish my degree and decided I wanted to get a theater degree so that I could do my own children's back home in Tuolumne County because I knew there wasn't one, because if there had been, I would have tried to get in. And so got my degree, came home, took a car ride with my friend John Williams, who at the time owned Bob's Greenleaf Pharmacy. And we were on the way to a youth group retreat that my brother was doing for his senior project. And in the car, we were talking, and he's like, what do you want to do now you're done with college? And I was all, I want to start a children's theater. He said, what do you need to do that? So, well, I need financial backing, and I kind of need to go visit some other children's theaters and see how they do their programs. I've been doing children's programming my whole life, just in other fields. So I kind of want to see how they do their stuff. And he said, well, what kind of financial backing do you need? I said, well, for summer camp, minimum 10 grand. And he said, I'll just give it to you. And I was all, what? Are you serious? He said, yeah, I'll just give it to you. Let's start a theater. So when we got home from that retreat, we started Meyer Hideout. Yeah. He is one of my biggest supporters.
That's awesome, yo.
Right? Longtime supporter. If it hadn't been for John my family, the whole thing wouldn't have existed. We got it up and running in a month, got 13 kids enrolled in summer camp, started a 6-week summer camp. And yeah, I still have students from that summer camp that I talk to regularly. I have some from the first couple of years of summer camp that are still part of the theater now. Yeah, it's amazing. And over time, we were able to get people help us with the fundraising and help us do all that stuff so that John could pull back on the amount of money he had to donate. And then now he's not like officially a part of the theater or anything, but we still chat all the time. He comes to our shows. He donates things when we need it. Like, yeah, if it hadn't been for him, we wouldn't even be here.
Dude, wow, what an amazing, a patron of the arts. That's incredible. That's amazing. Okay, for youth community theater, what are some of the biggest challenges that you encounter in your experience in your time doing this?
For a long time, it was that no one knew we were around. So marketing is hard, especially in a county where I feel like there's a big age gap. You know, There's the social media generation and then the paper generation. So just getting people to know we exist and to come support getting volunteers to help with theater and non-theater related things, just helping with the upkeep of our buildings, all that kind of stuff, just getting bodies there to volunteer their time, which is, I know, hard for all nonprofit corporations. And for youth theater, the youth themselves sometimes are really scared to start because they think they're not good enough, or that they need to already have training before they can come, or that, it's scary for a lot of them. But we have so many opportunities. We have so many beginner camps. You can start at any level. you don't have to be on stage. I teach tech theater classes. I teach construction classes. We always need help with costumes. And so we just want people to get there and get involved and get comfortable. And then you can, if you want to, you can try something different and we will support you in that. So those are some of the big things. The other things is keeping some of our youth. Once they get into high school, they're in high school and we want them to do their high school shows. We want them to do other shows. We want them to audition for SRT, which I was a big part of for a long time. And so then we lose a lot of our enrollment because then they're too busy and they need to be doing those other shows and we want them to grow. So just time, getting people's time is definitely one of the hardest parts.
Yeah, sure. And I remember you mentioned about, kids that are signing up and then are scared. I remember when I helped out with you, there was, I was running the band and there was the girl that signed up to be the drummer.
Yep.
And she was so timid. And she was like, I'm signed up to be the drummer. And she like wouldn't even like touch the sticks. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, a switch flipped. And just one day she showed up and she was a different person. She had all the parts. I have no idea what happened. For weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, she would sit there. She wouldn't touch the drums. I'm like, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. And then just one day she walked in and she was just killing it. And it's like, I don't even know what happened, but just like that little switch flipped and she's like, okay, I guess I can do this. It's just drums. I've been playing drums and whatever. Like,
yep.
I don't know what happened, but yeah, it's
right?
like, people sign up, because they wanted, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was amazing. And I was like, yeah, you can do it. Yeah. So
it's not just youth. Like our thing is we really want to push the community aspect. We do a couple of shows a year that we call community shows, which just means it's adults too. And we really want adults involved. And I started doing this quite a few years ago because my teenagers got too old, right? They turned 18, 19, and they're like, well, now I feel too old for your youth show. I'm like, that's fine. We'll do a community show. We'll get adults involved. And it's amazing how many adults out there never got the opportunity to do this kind of thing when they were kids. And now is the time. Like, we have so many adults who never even stepped foot on stage, who really just wanted to try it. And they're just as scared and just as nervous as the kids. But it's just as meaningful to get them up there doing it with the rest of us. I mean, we've had dads join just so they can do it with a show with their kids. And we've had entire families do a show together. Awesome. And it's just, that's what makes it so much fun. And I've had people join so like later in life and rediscover a love for music or dance or something that they didn't even know they loved. So
yeah, our family, actually did a podcast episode about this, where our family are homeschoolers and specifically we're unschoolers, where we don't follow curriculum. We just let our learners follow their interests. And how great is it when you're a parent and you show support in what your kids want to do by, if you're, hey, I want to be in a play. Hey, let's all do it together. Like that's amazing. Yeah. Hey, so what about with youth theater in general, but also youth theater? What are some misconceptions that you've maybe come across that people have about youth theater?
Like I said, some students think that you have to already be good to be in it. Some students think that getting on ensemble role is a bad thing, whereas ensemble like makes the show. If you don't have a good ensemble, it makes a big difference. And we're really trying to get that into our students' heads that it's not about being the lead, it's about being in the team. And because that relates to everything in life, that to me, that's one of the biggest misconceptions. And then the other thing is that the other misconception is that youth shows aren't going to be good shows, but they are. We try to produce high quality shows. It doesn't mean that we only cast the good people. We cast everyone and we build everyone up and we try to give everyone a chance to challenge themselves and learn something new. And we want them to learn how to do proper scene changes and do strike at the end of the show, which is a lot of work, and put in the time and the effort to make a quality show. It's a lot different than most like elementary school shows, or even some high schools, their shows, you'll see it if you come see a show. It's very different.
Yeah, any show can be good if you work on it and if you care about it and if your team works hard, and put in the effort, for sure. It looked like you had something else you wanted to say. Did you want to say something
another
else too, or not?
misconception that tends to come across is that only certain types of people can do theater, right? Like, I don't even know what types of people,
Totally.
because I think everyone can do theater, everyone. My husband, when we first started dating, thought that manly men couldn't do theater, and I had to show him the proof that Hugh Jackman started out in musical theater long before he became Wolverine, and then went back into musical theater to produce these massive musicals, right? And is on Broadway again.
Right.
And
Yeah, he's
and a
so
lot
good.
of
He's so good at
and a
it.
lot of people who can't sing can be in theater. I mean, we have tons of straight plays. You can be a non-singer and be in a musical. There's always non-singing roles. Actors, there's some amazing actors out there who just don't sing. You don't need to sing. Also, you don't have to be that great of an actor to sing and dance if you are passionate about the music and movements that you're doing. So I personally don't think I'm that great of an actress. I love singing and I love dancing. I'm not a dancer. So I could see how people would think that only certain types of people can do theater, but there's a spot for everyone. If you like playing with lights and stuff, we'll show you how to run the light board. We'll show you how to connect everything.
Right.
If you really like playing with the soundboard, we'll teach you how to use the soundboard. If you like creating media, we can do marketing. We have backdrops we have painted. We have to build random props. If you like troubleshooting, like, we always need help with, like, how in the world are we going to make this do this? Can you figure that out? We've had students do their senior projects where they guest produced and guest directed. So there's just so many aspects of it. If you like to sew, you can sew. If you just like interacting with people, you can work in the lobby and the box office and interact with people and get them in the door. Like, there's just so many aspects that anybody can be a part of.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking that when you were starting to list off different things, I'm like, man, I mean, it's a whole entire thing. We talked about this. I've been doing a mini series about the modern church. And I talked about worship leading, and I personally, as a worship musician, I believe that that everybody that participates in worship in any capacity is a worship leader. It's not just the person with the microphone, the people that are running sound, the people that are running the slides, the people that are, everybody that's part of the team they're all worship leaders. But it's the same thing with theater. It's like we need the person in the back with a clipboard is every bit as critical to the whole production as the person in front that's the lead star. Is every bit as critical as the usher, or the person at the front door is every bit as critical as everybody else. And it takes all types. And if you want to be part of the theater, hey, go try it. And you might love it, and you might not like it. You might not like that particular role. And hey, there's probably a community theater in your town. I mean, Sonora's really lucky. We have all these amazing theaters. We have SRT, we have Mountain Youth, we have a bunch of different cool stuff. So what about youth theater? I feel like I always say this and I feel like, man, this has got to be an easy question, but what about youth theater fills your bucket? Why do you do this?
I do it for the students. Just watching them grow and change and learn, and knowing you had a part in all of that is really what I do it for. Looking back on we're coming up on 18 years now of this theater group, and just seeing where they started and where they are now, and how I can see that I got to be a part of that. And it always starts small with, like, the shyest kid actually doing what you ask them to do and going out on stage by themselves because they got there first and they needed to get the scene started, to becoming the most outgoing person you've ever met. And then the ones who think that they're not graceful, who decide they really like dance and end up joining a dance competition team. And then the ones who are amazing singers and amazing dancers, but have also realized that they really like organizing stuff, and they really like being a stage manager and running around and doing all that stuff, even though they could be on stage performing. Or the ones who started young and kind of grew in theater, realizing that if they practiced enough and focused enough that they could follow it further if they wanted to. So it's always for the kids. And I laugh because some of the things I love to teach the kids the most are the simplest things, like how to properly sweep with a push broom, how to use a dust mop, how to use a power drill, how to measure things correctly. Has nothing to do with performing at all.
Yeah,
And then
because
like
they're kids.
spotlight operators. Hey,
Yeah, they're kids.
and
They
then
don't know these
troubleshooting, like
things.
spotlight operators. Like, hey, my spotlight won't turn on. Well, what have you tried? Nothing. Okay, well, can we go through all the steps to like all the different things that could possibly go wrong with your spotlight? Go through every single one of those, and then we can be like, okay, something's broken. So just like really building those skills that they're going to use way later that have nothing to do with performing on its own. But then it becomes a part of their lives, and they always come back to it, right? So I've got lots of theater kids that are now theater adults with families, and we have a couple of them now that have kids that are just starting our program. So it's crazy to see the full circle. Some of my ones that were super in theater when they were in high school, they helped all the time. Like they were always there helping me build sets. Some of them hate painting, and they would come and help paint. Like, they would make it happen because they knew I needed them. They knew that the team needed them. And you can see that now they use that idea of teamwork and being there for each other in their lives. And that's why I do it. Also, I love music, and I love watching the kids perform. So at the end of it all, it's so fun to get to watch them perform.
That's awesome. It's like you're like on the sly, you're teaching them life skills and they don't even know it. Suckers.
Oh yeah. I've written a lot of recommendation letters for like jobs and schools based on their life at the theater, because it's not just a letter, oh yeah, they sing and dance well or they act really well. No, they're here all the time, on time. They stay late when I need help. They take out the garbage without being asked. They do all these things. They're super organized. They work well with others. Like it's really fun to write those letters.
That's wonderful. Do you have any in your time doing youth theater? Do you have anything that you might consider a guilty pleasure? That something that, I don't know, if someone saw you doing it, they might be like, Kyla, what is going on here? But you don't care. You do it anyway.
I was thinking about that. I really don't, because for the most part, musical theater people are like, yeah, we love everything or whatever. And I mean, there's a lot of, well, this musical is better than this one and this person's better than, I don't care about any of that. But I do kind of get the side eye when I say, oh, I don't know that musical, or I haven't heard of that musical, or I don't like that musical because I don't like that style of music. But I mean, the musical is really well written. It's just not what I like. That's when I get the like, are you sure you're in musical theater? Yes, I can be in musical theater, not love everything and not know all the musicals. I do have a regular job.
Everything. Right. Do you have something that you consider like a signature move, or maybe like a veteran move that's like people that have been around for a while are be like, oh yeah, that's a Kyla, that's like the Kyla veteran move?
The first thing is that I do not cut people. If you come to auditions and you meet the requirements, which is usually just an age requirement or that you've been in a show a couple of times, I don't cut people. I make it work. I also bring food to everything. So I have snacks at auditions. We keep a snack table at rehearsals because I get hangry. So if I get hangry, everybody else I know will get hangry. So if it's one of my shows, you know for a fact that you're going to get in and there's going to be snacks.
That's lovely. My wife works part-time for after school program, and I mean, maybe not all the kids always have food at their places, who knows? And so maybe they need a snack, or like you said, I mean, they may have come right after school and maybe they need a snack. So yeah. And then, just like you said, hey, even if the kids aren't at the level they need to be, everybody can learn, everybody can grow. There's a spot for everyone. I love it. That's awesome. Do you have any advice for beginners? Maybe someone has young children or students that maybe want to get into theater, or maybe someone wants to get into theater themselves, or some crazy person is listening to this right now and says, I've always wanted to start a youth theater. Do you have any advice for someone listening to this right now?
Well, getting involved. Like, just get involved. Pick a place, do some research about what kinds of things they do, see if it sounds like something interesting, and get involved. I know a lot of our elementary schools are cutting their programs, but some of them are really holding on tight to what they have. And in order to keep those, you need to get involved. I know some of the schools, like a certain grade level, will have like an elective, and you can take a drama elective. Like, just jump in right then and get started. Our theater, we have three summer camps this year for all different age groups, all different levels. SRT Junior does a bunch of stuff. And the nice thing about our community is that we really try to work with each other and around each other. So, like, you can do both camps. Usually for if you do an SRT camp and then MyAct, we change our time slots. So you could do both if you really wanted to do both. There's Murphy's has a bunch of stuff. There are things everywhere. There if you really think you might want to dance, then get into dance, because to me, dance is a part of theater. If you really want to do music, sing all the time, sing in the shower, and look for opportunities to join a group where you get to sing together, or just get together with your friends and sing. If you want to start your own children's theater, it's a lot of paperwork. My lawyer brother helped me with mine in the first place. It's a lot of tracking funds and accounting, and my younger brother helped me with that. You need a lot of moral support, a lot of, here, just take this, here, we'll give you this, here, use our living room, like my parents did for the first 8 years when we rehearsed in their living room every day. Be ready for a lot of work in fundraising and marketing. I feel like the programs themselves that you offer to the kids, I feel like that's the easy part. You know, figuring out how to work with kids and teach them all the stuff, like, to me, that comes naturally, and that's what I love to do, and that's what a lot of people love to do. Running a business is a whole nother thing, and you need a whole nother brain, and it needs to work together with the creative brain. So if you can team up with some people, and if you want to start a group, then do that. I have another friend who she just started a group. It's nothing like, it's not a nonprofit group, nothing. It's just a group of them that get together and they put on Little Place. They just did one in Tuolumne Park a couple of weeks ago, maybe months ago now, before it was dumping rain. And they get together and they do a little show, and that's what you got to do to make it happen. Then just do it. And if you need help or you need resources, reach out to all of those of us who are doing it already. We're happy to help. We want to see more of it in our county.
That's great advice. So you guys heard it here first. If you want to start your own youth theater, have a brother who's a lawyer and another brother who's an accountant. So work on that, everybody. This episode of the N+1 podcast has been brought to you by earlier episodes of the N+1 podcast. We've been going now strong for about 3 months, and I've just been having about the most fun of anything I've ever done. And we've had a number of amazing episodes. Some of those early episodes have flown under the radar, and I was hoping that you, if you are a new listener, would go back and maybe check those out. We had some episodes where we talked to Adam Malore about the life of being a YouTuber and what it's like to try to gain followers like I'm doing here today. That was a really interesting episode. We talked to my beloved sister Bethany about what it's like to be a quilter. We talked to Courtney Pong about improv. We talked to my good friend Gabe, who fed me scotch. We talked to my coworker Josh, and he is a prospector, and he talked to me about prospecting for gold and showed me an amazing trick about using moss to prospect. We talked to my good friend Jed Roberson about being a photographer. We talked to my good friend John C. Brown about being an actor. We just had some amazing episodes, and some of those episodes have gotten lost in the mix. So I encourage you to go back and check out some of those early episodes if you've missed them. I think you'll really enjoy them. Also, one other thing I wanted to point out, because I'm looking at all the numbers, is that I noticed that most of you are consuming this podcast on YouTube, which is great, and I love to see you there. Hi, YouTube. But this podcast is also available through all media podcasts and hosting and streaming services. It's available on Spotify. It's available on Apple Podcasts. It's available on Stitcher. It's available anywhere you get podcasts, including Audible or whatever. If you are a person that drives around a lot like I do, this is a great way to consume the podcast. And so I encourage you to check out the podcast there. It's a great listen. I actually, after I make these podcasts and they release, that's how I get them. And if you haven't really been paying attention, the podcast comes out every Thursday. The audio comes out Thursday morning, maybe around 6 or so that I can listen to it on the way to work. And then the video will come around 11 or so. Last of all, if you are enjoying any of these episodes, I always would like to ask you to share this episode or any episode with someone that you think might enjoy it. Just pick one episode, find one person you think might enjoy it, and share that with them, whether it's an audio or a YouTube, and just send that over to them, and that would really help to grow the show. I would really appreciate it. Okay, guys, we're going to get you back to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. So in your time doing this, you said almost 17 years, I think you said. Do you have something, looking back, that you might consider your favorite moment or maybe your best moment during that time where you look back and you just think, man, that was just the best. That was just so good.
Oh, it's really hard to say one thing over another because every student is different. Every show is different. Every interaction is amazing. So, I mean, almost every show I cry because they're just so good. Seeing some of my kids who are really shy get up there and own it, like that was a big thing. One year we wrote a show and we used some music that we didn't write and produced this really huge community show, all ages, adults, children, beginners, veterans. We hung a trapeze on the stage. My husband hung a trapeze. We hung some rappelling lines, and we taught some kids how to do some trapeze stuff. We taught some kids how to swing on ropes and rappel down. And that show, we had, I think, 50 cast members. So it was split cast. So we had 2 different casts. Some of the people overlapped, and the flu came through. Like before COVID, the flu came through and it was wiping out people left and right? So some of the characters had another person who knew the role and we just shoved them over.
Oh, no.
Other people, we just had to be like that day, like, here's a script. Can you be this person that you like, just do this? And they're like, sure, I'll do it. Sure, I'll do it. And then we'd be backstage right before the show. And one of my younger kids would come up to me. I remember it clearly. She came up to me and goes, hey, this person is out sick and this person is out sick. And I know they moved this set piece during this scene. Can I do it? And I was like, yes. Like, they just really covered for each other. And no one in the audience even had a clue that all these people were out sick. And then we were covering left and right. Like, it was the most cohesive teamwork cast I've ever had. That's where amazing. They just went with it. They were happy about it too. There was no negativity at all. I also, side note, had to perform in that show for like 6 of the performances because one of the characters got really sick and I was the only one who knew the music. So I just jumped in and became a conjoined twin with another person, and we sang 2 really fun songs in harmony, and I had the script the whole time for all the other stuff because I'm horrible at learning lines. So, and we also had to pull the stage manager at one point and put them on the stage too. But the audience would never know. Like, there was all this craziness going on, but it was a beautiful show, and everyone who came to that show really loved it. And my friend Scott Beats from SRT, he always comes to our shows. He is a great supporter as well, and we love going to see his stuff. And he came to our closing show, and our kids were so emotional during that show because it was closing. We had done a 3-week run. That day, 2 of them, started crying during one of the final songs. Luckily, it fit the tone of the song, but it took them a while to get it back together. They still sang through it. It sounded beautiful, and he said that he was brought to tears by how passionate everybody was in the show. So I think that's one of our crowning moments was just the teamwork that was involved in making that show happen and happen beautifully.
Wow, what a story. What show was that?
It was called Under the Big Top.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and I remember the show that I helped out on. It was similar to that, where you guys had hung a zip line and there was some rappelling and there was a whole band. There was 2 bands, that we're swapping out on, and we rehearsed for weeks, and we did 3 shows, and then COVID hit. It was
we
awful.
Had 4 shows, yeah.
What was it, 3 or 4 shows?
COVID hit.
Oh.
It still makes me hurt.
Yeah, it was such a heartbreaker.
All that work and the whole entire other cast didn't even get to perform at all. Like, they worked so hard, and so COVID was rough. It was rough on everybody, and just I feel like my kids were kids. Yeah. They were like 6th to 8th graders, and then now once we came back from COVID, they're like young adults, and I missed all that in between time.
You guys did that show again, though, right?
Yeah, so we rewrote it shorter because when we wrote it the first time, it was really pretty long, and it was meant for an adult and youth cast. So we rewrote it, we shortened it, we cut some of the songs, and they did it as this first summer camp when we came back because all the sets were there, all the props were there, all the costumes were there. We needed to use what was there. So that was really fun. They still got to do a story. We called it Catch a Falling Spy 1.5.
I'm glad you guys finally got to go back to that, but that was a fun time. So I have a segment on our show, and I don't know if this will work, but I have a segment on our show called Let's Get Into It, where if there's a way that we can do it, we try to do the thing. Like when Gabe Peterson was on, we talked about Scotch, right? I only drink Diet Pepsi, but we talked about Scotch. He's very knowledgeable, and he actually fed me some Scotch, right? And I had a friend that talked about improv comedy, and we did an improv game. And so I was just wondering if you had anything that you thought of something that we could do in just a couple minutes for youth theater. I don't know. And we can't always do it, but if you had anything in mind, I'm down. And if not, we can move on. But did you have anything in mind?
Well, the only thing I thought of that might be simple is the stage directions game we play with the kids. So you're the actor on stage and you're facing forward. And then I tell you a stage direction and you point into the direction of it. So assuming that you are center stage, center, like right in the middle of the stage. And do you know downstage and upstage?
Okay.
So downstage is in front of you. Upstage is behind you.
Okay.
So downstage is in front.
Sure.
Upstage is behind you, is up away from the audience because stages used to be slanted towards the audience, and then they reversed it and they slanted the audience, and now the stage is flat. And then it's the actors right and left. So it's your right and your left, right? So there's all these different areas of the stage. Yeah. So like this. So for you, stage right is over there, right? You would just point to your right, and stage left is over there, and then downstage is that way. Okay. But where would downstage right be? But to your right.
Downstage right is this way, that over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way. There you go. What about upstage left?
Upstage left is this way, over there.
Yes. There you go. And then upstage center.
Upstage center is this way?
Yes. And then offstage right would be all the way into the wings, off of the stage where no one can see you. So we actually put them on the stage and we make them either point or run around. Okay.
Yeah, I never understood that stage right, stage left stuff.
What's confusing
I never got that.
is the confusing part about it is it's the actors right and left. So all the rest of us are in the audience. And so we're telling the actor, go stage right, and they're going to our left. And that's what confuses people. And then when you're sitting in the audience, that's called the house. And the house has its own left and right. And it's the house's left and right, which is opposite from the actors' left and right. So like our lighting board people, everything is labeled stage right and stage left. So they have to learn to flip it. When I say turn on the stage right light, they have to turn on the one that's to their left. So yeah, we play that game as much as we can because A, it's fun, and B, it's a good reminder because we all get flipped around sometimes.
Well, that was awesome. That was great. Thank you. I learned something today. That was great. So this is the question of the show, which is, Kyla, for you and maybe for Mountain Youth, what is N+1? What is next? What is on the horizon? What is the next thing? Well,
we just this week started rehearsals for Newsies Junior, which is amazing for me because, like I said, Newsies, the movie when it came out, was what inspired me to look into musicals and say, what is this thing? It just looks like so much fun. And honestly, for my bachelorette party when I got married, we took 19 of my theater friends to go see Newsies in San Francisco and got to go backstage and meet a bunch of Newsies and touch their
That sounds like so much fun.
So it's so cool. So Newsies is my thing, right? And then early on, we put up our own like pretend version of Newsies. I want to say like 2006 or 2007, something like that, at Twain Hart Elementary School as my Meyer Hideout, my first group. And, we just did it for the families and friends. And so a couple of my performers who were in that, like one of them is the choreographer for this show. One of them that was the choreographer for that show, her daughter is in our show. Like there's all this crossing of of history with getting to do it now, like properly through Music Theater International. And so we're working on that. We've got 47 people in the cast this time. Again, it's split cast, so we're doing 3 weekends. So we want, yeah. So if people can come multiple times, they get to see 2 different casts. It'll be great. And then there's a straight play coming up, I think, in later spring. I'm honestly don't remember the name of the play, but it's a play about a play getting put on where everything goes wrong. It's like a comedy. And then we have the 3 summer camps. So I know we have the Pipsqueak camp is my camp. I'm doing a little kid camp. So it's ages 6 to 9 and it's just the mornings for 1 week. And we do theater games. We put on a little recital at the end. And we do dancing and we do some singing, and it's just super fun. And then we have the main camp, which is based off of my original summer camp layout. And it's 4 weeks, and they are doing Beauty and the Beast Junior, which is another one we did a long time ago, and it's so fun to see it do again. And one of my students, used to be a 6-year-old who would cry all the time, is now in college, and she's directing this show. And then the musical directors are also coming back from other things. And so that one will be really fun. And then they're doing a 1 week older, not necessarily older kid, but same age group camp, but just a 1 week camp. Because 4 weeks is hard for a lot of people. So they're doing a 1 week camp of Aristocats Kids, which is another one of the shows that we did way back in the day. And it'll be so great to see it done. Again, totally different directors, different space, and all new students. So we're really excited about that. And then they always have like 1 to 2 fall shows that I'm not sure what they are yet. Since I'm not on the board, I'm just a guest director, and I'm basically the tech director, and I take care of the facility. You'll see me out there on the roof.
That's amazing.
The green room roof, covering with plastic as it's raining and hailing. My husband and I will be up there doing our thing, trying to keep the rain out. But hey, if anybody wants to, bring some funds down and help us rebuild some things, or some construction folks that just want to take it off our plate, that would be amazing.
Oh my gosh. We've had the most insane rainstorm. California is not built for rain, even though we need it, but we've had the most insane rainstorm lately, the last week and a half or 2, but not this kind of rain. The relentless. Yeah, we don't live in Washington, but anyway. So thank you so much for coming on. I've been wanting to talk to you for so long. I ran into you in a store 3 months ago or 4 months ago, or something like that. I was like, I gotta get you on the thing. We've had some scheduling stuff, but thank you so much for coming on. How can people connect with you? How can they find the theater? How can they connect with you? How can they do that?
So we do have a website. It's mountainyouthAct.com. And then on top of that, we have a Facebook page, Mountain Youth and Community Theater Facebook page. We have an Instagram, My Act Insta. And then we have our location. Our theater is off of Tuolumne Road, the same Cuesta Courts, the same road that Snore Mini Storage is on. We're down in that area on the left. All of our email is on our website, and our board checks it all the time and makes sure it gets to the right people.
Great. If you're in Sonora, you're visiting Tuolumne County, check them out. It's great. You'll definitely appreciate it. You'll definitely enjoy it. Before we get you out of here, I got 2 silly questions. I asked these to everybody. Oh, go ahead.
I forgot to say, Newsies Junior, we open February 24th, and we run for 3 weekends. So book your calendars now, get your tickets, come and see us. Oh,
there you go. Newsies, February. Go see them. I got 2 silly questions before we go. I asked these to everybody. These are kind of my favorite part of the show, but I won't tell anybody, even though I just did. The first question is the name drop, which is I want you to tell us the sentence 2 and casually drop the name of the most famous person you've ever met.
Let's see. So I was hanging out with my uncle David, who's a performer, a country western singer, and a western yodeler. And he was making this video called Born to Yodel way back in the day when everything was still VHS. And we went out to this random place that I was in the middle of nowhere, right? Cute little cabin and stuff. And I met Roy Rogers.
No way, Roy Rogers. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I know really a lot of the younger generation don't know him, but
all right,
he was amazing.
That's awesome. Okay, and then the last thing, and we will get you out of here, which is, what is, in your opinion, no wrong answers, the all-time greatest cartoon theme song?
Gosh, the crazy thing is I know a lot of theme songs without realizing it until something triggers it and I just start singing it. But I want to say the one I sing the most frequently is Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. Mm-hmm. That one gets stuck in your head because of
Rescue Rangers. That's a good one. Right. That's a good one. I haven't had one of those yet. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I remember that too. I remember watching that show when I was a kid. Okay. Well, thank you for coming on the show. I really enjoyed our conversation. Check out Mountain Youth on the internet. If you are new to the show, make sure you follow us, give us a follow. You can, if you're listening to this on an audio player, you can just click subscribe or follow. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to give us a like and subscribe. Share this with someone you think might enjoy it. Otherwise, until next time, everybody, don't be a jerk.